My beautiful people, how you all doing? Welcome back to a new class. So we are going to be making this trendy bubu with drawstring at the center front of your bubu, and it's going to have a fitted waist with our belts. Okay, so all we need to do is to get your fabric. You need about 3.5 yards of fabric to make this, because the length of my bubu is 63 inches with seam allowance. Okay, so for that I need 3.5 yards of fabric. So I'm making use of this Adire fabric, Adire silk. This is the right side and this is the wrong side. So I took my time to give it a good press because the fabric is always here and there. Okay, so I took my time to iron. Then how did I fold? I have, okay, here I have 3 yards of fabric. So this is 3 yards of fabric by 50 inches. So what I did is to fold it back like this, 3.5 yards into 2, and then slit it. The reason for that is because the front has to be more than the back because of the drawstring. So once it is slitted, the 3.5 yards, once I slit it into 2, then I'll now fold along the 50 inches, whatever length yours is. Some could be 60. So I'll fold it this way, then fold it this way, and then place on top of each other. Then the front, which is below, will be 1.5 inches more. So this is how I placed it. This is the front, this is the back, 1.5 inches outward than the back. Then pin it down and give it a good press. Now going back to mine, so I have this separate on fold and also this separate. So I pin it down because it's not easy to work with. So this is for the front, which is the 1 inch outward, and this is the back. So I'm going to pin it back. And I have my length to be 63 inches. So on fold here now I have it to be 25 inches. Okay, 25 inches. And then don't forget, as I've said, you make sure the front is 1.5 inches more than the back. So I've pinned it down, so the front is the one below. Good. The first thing we want to do now is to mark the neckline. So I'm working with only the back, so leave the 1.5 inch alone. So now from the back alone, I'll mark 3 inches. So once that is done, I will now come here. So it depends on how I want my bubu to be wide. So since I have 25 inches here, I'm just going to maintain that. But remember, the back now is more here because the front is outward. So what I will do to escape that is to mark 23 inches. So 23 inches. So you can see below we still have some fabric. So I'm going to mark that 23 inches all down. Okay. So that goes all down. So what I'm now going to do is from the edge here, I'll just come down by 1.5. So once that is done, I'll connect to the 3 inches. So after marking that, the slope is formed. So now for the neckline, for the back, I will just come down by 1 inch or 1.5. So I think I'm just going to maintain these 3 inches for the neckline. But if you want yours to be wider, you can do 3.5. So I'll maintain these 3 inches or just do 3.5. Okay. So for the back, I'll come down by 1.5. Then use your armhole to form it's always moving around. Okay, so this is the back neckline. So for the front neckline, I will make that, it depends on how deep you want it to be. So for me, I think I'll be doing about between 8 inches to 9 inches. So I really want it to be open, so I'll just go to make it 9 inches. So I'll come and mark that on the front area here. So to make it easier, pin it here, and then I'm just going to lift it. So mark the neck width on the front, and then you can connect straight here. So you can either have it straight to be sharp or curved, but I would prefer mine to be sharp, so it's just going to be straight. So you can take it directly to this point because of bias strip, or you just take it straight to this point, but it might not be easy to work for some people, especially beginners. So just take it from that place straight to the end here to have a sharp V. Good. So this is for the front here, and this is for the back, but we'll be cutting the back first. So now let us go back to the sleeve opening. So for the sleeve opening, I'm going to make it about either 12 or 13. Okay, let me just make it 13. Between 12 and 13 is okay. If you're a small size, with 11 is okay. Okay, so here I have 13 inches. So from that point, I'm just going to come in by 3/4 or 1 inch. When I'm making my boo-boo, you see me do that. So it's kind of make it balanced. So we are cutting that off. Good. Then from this point now, the 3/4 or 1 inch, you now come in by 4 inches or 5. Sometimes I do 5, sometimes I do 4. Can you see? So whatever you now have here, so you can just take it straight from here, whatever you have. So here I have about 4.5. So that's what I'm going to take straight down. Okay, let me confirm again. Sorry, I have 5.5. So that's how I'm going to connect it straight down. So I've taken the line straight down. So I'll be cutting that off. Good. So here you can either leave it here, but I like to just make a curve like this. So I can start cutting from the neckline here. So we have cut it all out. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So what I'm going to do now is to remove the upper part, which is the back. Because I really took my time to pin it down. So this is the back. So now back to the front. I'll just take it straight this way. So that is done. Then I'm going to slit this middle open, or you can just sew 1.5 inches all down before slitting it, especially if you are a beginner, you are working with this type of fabric. But I will just slit it up. Good. So before opening it up, the first thing I want to do now is to sew in 1.5 inches straight down, then bring it back. So guys, I have sewn the 1.5 inches. I usually do this because this fabric moves here and there, but when I got to the neckline, I left some inches. So this is the neckline, but I stopped here. As you can see, that's because I'm still going to fix bias strip on it, but I'd like to secure it so it doesn't go around. It's going to have a belt which will give it that fitted waistline. So how do you determine that? you just take the measurement of your waist. But for me, I like that belt to be between my underbust and my waist. My underbust is 15.5 inches, while my waist is 18.5 inches. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use 16 inches. Okay, 16 or 16.5 inches. So from the edge here, I'm just going to measure 16 inches. So 16 inches is around here. Then how do you now know the wideness to take? Just divide your waist by 4. My waist is 39 inches. When I divide it by 4, it's going to give me 9.75. So instead of that 9.75, I'm just going to use 9 inches because you kind of want the belt to be hidden on the side. So now from the measurement I've sewn in, the 1.5 inches, I will start from there. So 9 inches will now be from here. I will now mark it here. So this is where it's going to be, 16 inches. So I'm going to transfer this measurement to the other side. You can use your pin to do that. Just pin it here and then mark it at that point. So that is how I transfer my mark. So once that is noted, I'll take a matching bias strip and I'm going to finish the neckline. Okay, so this is what I'm going to have now. So this is it. So on the right side, this is what it looks like. Can you see? So I'll fix the bias strip. So once I've finished fixing the bias strip, then I can finish sewing up the 1.5 inches. Then for the belts, I don't want the belts to be too wide. Okay, so for the belt, I just folded my fabric to be 2.5 inches. So 2.5 inches on 4. So when you open it up, you have 5 inches. So let me measure the length for you to see. So I have 41 inches. Okay, so the next thing is to fold it on the wrong side and then sew it all around. I have fixed the neckline. So looking at it, I have used the bias strip to fix the neckline on both sides. Then the next thing was to now sew it up. After that, I now had to use pressing iron to press it flat. Good. The next thing I now did is to make the rope for the drawstring. So all I did is, here I have a length of 85 inches. The length of the dress is 63. So just had additional 20 inches to it, but here I have 83 inches. Then I folded it to make the rope. So I had to, so this is one and this is the other one. Then went further to fix the belt. So I've sewn it and bring it all out. So here all you have to do now is to fold in and just sew on it to make it neat. Good. Then don't forget the back. I've fixed the neckline too. Now quickly, the next thing you want to do is to now take one of these strip of fabric, this rope, and then you place it underneath the 1.5 inches. So there are two ways. You can either overlock it on both sides and then you just sew it straight down. But how I'm going to be folding half an inch to be left with 1 inch. So place it underneath it this way. Okay, and then cover it up. Then you see this V same line, just secure it with that. So that's how you're going to secure the rope. So looking at this, I have done this. So I place it underneath it and then I sew it on the existing seam line of the v-neck. So it is still the same line, the same seam line. Good. So the next thing you now want to do is to now fold in half an inch while pushing this inside. Okay, so it is easy because you will feel the rope inside, so it won't stress you. So once you folded the half an inch, fold it back and then you just keep sewing it that way. So push it in, then fold it, and that's how you are going to do both sides. Then another thing I forgot to tell you the other time was that you have to sew up the hem before you sew the 1.5 inches. So look at it, I had to leave it for you to see. So the first thing before you sew it all down is to fold this up. So I overlock and then folded in 1 inch. So after that, will I now finish this up. The next thing will be to fix the belt. We've already marked that, so it will be easier at this point and at this point. So just take it, okay, place it this way, and then you sew it down. You do that to the other side too. So guys, I'm through with the drawstring and it looks so beautiful. So you can see how neat everything is. That is how it should be. So this is the belt which have been attached. I attached it this way because it's going to be tied this way. Okay, so this is how it now looks at the end. Okay, so you can easily move it in. Okay, the next thing you now want to do is please make sure your seam line are very neat. The next thing you want to do is first to join the shoulder. So you make sure right sides are facing each other, the front and the back. So just sew in half an inch or 3/4 of an inch at the shoulder. Okay, so this is it. I'm just going to sew in 3/4 of an inch. Once that is done and the other shoulder, I'm going to hem the sleeve area, so you can overlock it or just fold it or welt, whichever way. So once the sleeve has been done, then I'm now going to sew the side straight down. Okay, and that is all. A beautiful Bubu dress is ready, and you can see how wonderful it is. So neat. Make sure you give it a good press. So this is how it looks, and make sure you overlock everything. This is the wrong side with the belt. You can see it's also looking so neat. Guys, can you see how beautiful our center rush Bubu dress is? So wonderful. And you won't believe I've not even tied the belt. So I'm going to tie the belt now. So all I have to do is to just release my hand inward. With the belt, this is what it looks like. So wonderful. Can you see? So this is a must-have dress for you. So you can wear it anywhere. I hope you like the dress. And if this tutorial has been helpful, just please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Share, please share. I'm going to turn the back for you to see how it looks. I'm sure you like it. Bye, guys.